Florida-Tennessee game where Patrick Young dove for the loose ball.
Yes.
What did you think of that? What did that say to you, if anything?
Well, I mean, Patrick's a senior, and he's a tough player, and that's where kind of your toughness is shown. It's not a push the other guy out of the way thing. It's when the ball's on the floor, you're on the floor. Those kind of plays, and I think that's what's emblematic of the Florida team is they get the we of the game rather than the me of the game, and that takes some time, and they've put their time in. It hasn't just happened. They've put their time in.
Everybody at Kentucky wants to talk about expectations this year. This team's got all the expectations in the world. How do you assess this team right now for Kentucky?
They're really good, and they've got a chance to do something special. But it's a process, and for freshmen, everybody expects them to have it figured out, and have it figured out together. That's the hard part, is having it figured out together. And they haven't been a part of a team like this before, and it's hard to do. But Cal set the expectations up, but it's not with all this 40-0 business that he didn't say, and people took out of context. It was when you have the success he's had over the last 4 years, and you've done it with so many young players, even though some of their teams were different with some older guys here or there. People think it's just going to happen, and it doesn't just happen. And players mature at different rates. You're not going to get the same thing, even with the same player ratings each year. And what they did in 2012 was, I couldn't have imagined that would ever happen. And he did it, and did it in an extraordinary fashion. But to expect that again is not realistic.
What are you seeing from the progress of a guy like Julius Randle, who came in with so much hype, started the season with that big event in Chicago, and then has kind of had to adjust to the way teams are playing?
I think if Julius Randle were playing somewhere else, we'd be talking about how phenomenal he is. But because he's at Kentucky and he's the latest in a line of sort of freshman kings, it's expected, and maybe not as seen as impressive a feat. I don't know how many guys guard him on each possession, but it's more than one. And he's still putting up numbers. He plays extraordinarily hard. I think one of the things that's difficult is Cal is so honest with you that he'll tell you he wants him to do more, and then all of a sudden you expect more. And it's who's doing more. Like, I would just ask that who in the country as an 18, 19-year-old is doing more than Julius Randle and doing it more consistently? Well, Jabari Parker maybe. Outside of that, there's nobody. So the kid is having an unbelievable year, and I'm not saying we should all drop to our knees and thank the heavens that he's playing, but it is really impressive and should probably be seen as such by more people.
Jay, the cliche is that freshmen by this time of the year are no longer freshmen. Do you buy into that, or freshman the whole year?
I joke around with Digger Phelps about that because he says that, and I say, well, what does that make a senior, a graduate student, or a PhD? I think sometimes it shows up when you least expect it. Are they more experienced now and in a better position to do something than when they first got here? Absolutely. But they're still going to be put in situations they haven't been in before, and especially when they get to the SEC tournament, the NCAA tournament, it's all new and it's different. And having been there before is of value. It doesn't mean when you're older you're going to do it, because Florida's older. It doesn't mean they're going to do it. But would you rather have experienced players? Yeah, I'd rather have done it before than for this to be the first time. But I'm not a big believer in the freshmen aren't freshmen anymore. I think they still are.
The talk with the NBA making a two-year mandatory rather than 1 year mandatory. Do you look at that as a moment, or rather than a movement, or whatever? What's your comment on that?
Well, I think it would be great if the NBA would do what the NFL has done and have players stay in school for a longer period, whether it's 2 or 3 years. I think 3 years would be great. 2 would be the next best thing. 1 is better than none, though. I think the college game has been helped by guys like Anthony Davis and by Kevin Durant and the like, Greg Oden, you name all the one and dones, and I think they're helped by guys like Jabari Parker and Julius Randle. The game's better because of those guys. But we have a tendency, I don't know if you've noticed, to moralize a lot in this game. And I think having these players in school is a good thing for however long it is. But that's an NBA issue. I do think we've got an extraordinary opportunity now with Adam Silver coming in as the new commissioner to open up a dialogue as to how college basketball can help the NBA and vice versa. The problem we've got is we don't have anybody in charge. There's nobody that has any authority that can speak to our game, and that's a huge problem. And so what is the NBA to do? There's nobody to bargain with, to negotiate with, that can tell you, okay, here's with certainty what we can do. Can't do that.
So they got carte blanche.
We're not in a very good position. College basketball is not a well-administered game. People are well-intentioned, but it's not well-administered. I mean, it takes forever to change a rule. We have the slowest game in the world with a 35-second shot clock. The women have 30. And we've got 35. Now, what do we know that the rest of the world doesn't know that we have 35? It's crazy.